Welcome to the League of Women Voters Forum for Senate District 41. The League of Women Voters, Metro North Chamber of Commerce, North Suburban Optimists, and Positively Fridley welcome you to meet the candidates for those running for Senate District 41, which comprises all of Fridley, Columbia Heights, Hilltop, St. Anthony Village, and a portion of New Brighton. Thanks to the candidates in the City of Fridley for assistance from the Communications section and for use of the Fridley City Council chambers that make this event possible. This year, the League of Women Voters is holding the Meet the Candidates Forum without an audience to avoid COVID-19 spread. Look for upcoming forums on our website at lwvabcmn.org, and that stands for League of Women Voters, Anoka, Blaine, Coon Rapids, Minnesota.org. And select the Meet the Candidates option found on the left side of the web page. This is also the site where you can submit questions for upcoming forums. Hello, I'm Kathy Tinglestead, the train moderator for the Anoka, Blaine, Coon Rapids Area League of Women Voters. Because I live in Coon Rapids, I can't vote for either of these candidates, and I'm not acquainted with either one of them. All candidates for this race were invited to participate in the forum. The League of Women Voters does not support or oppose any political parties or candidates for office. These candidates very much care who you vote for, but the League does not, because the League's most important thing is that each person vote. The goal of our forums is to help citizens become informed voters. The term of office for state senator is normally 4 years, but this year with redistricting, this next upcoming term is for 2 years. The candidates for Senate District 41 are Mary Kunesh-Podein and Lucia Vogel. We will begin with 3 questions which were provided to the candidates in advance. Then I will ask questions submitted by the public through our website. And of course, we had more questions submitted than we have time for. The candidates will rotate who answers first, and each candidate will have 1 minute to respond to the question, with each of the candidates presenting a 1-minute closing statement at the end. So with the first question that was submitted in advance, and the candidates were aware, that first question, which will begin with Mary Kunesh-Podein, is describe your background and community involvement. 1 minute.
Thank you very much to the League of Women Voters, ABC. I'm Mary Kunesh-Podein. I'm running for Senate District 41, and there is a little part of Spring Lake Park also in this district, so we don't want to forget them. I was born in St. Paul, grew up in Sartell, which was a small little village, and so I think I bring the unique perspective of rural Minnesota also to the capital. I'm currently the state representative for District 41B, and was elected in 2016 and then very soundly re-elected in 2018. I am an assistant majority leader for the Democrat caucus and sit on the Education Policy and Education Finance Committee, of which I am the vice chair of the Education Policy and HHS. When I'm not at the Capitol, I am a teacher. I'm a library media specialist, so I've spent the last 2 weeks fervently trying to get Chromebooks and hotspots and access to information into our students. So thank you for allowing me to be here with you tonight.
Thank you. And next up is Lucia Vogel with the question, describe your background and community involvement.
My name is Lucia Vogel. I was born in Honduras, Central America. I came to Minnesota in 1985. Married to Ronald Vogel, who from Minnesota. I have 2 sons in the military. They have served in the military, and I have been a minister in a federal prison in Rochester, Minnesota, and I've been involved with ministries in North Minneapolis and also in Columbia Heights. I was co-owner of a restaurant called Catalina Restaurant, and I've been very involved in mission trips in other countries also, and I like to serve people, help my neighbors, whoever need help. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we'll be rotating who answers first, so we'll go back to Lucia Vogel here for this next question, which is, what are your qualifications for serving as a state representative, or state senator, excuse me, and why are you seeking this office? Lucia Vogel.
Well, I was running for City 5 before, and Lacey Johnson was the winner. And so I was going to start with my business and my life, and the Senate, the GOP came to my house and asked me to, they see the potential, they see the things that I have accomplished in the community, in my life, with my family, and they asked me to run for District 41. And one of the things that I want to tell the voters is that I am a person who are very conscious of my decisions. I like to use common sense. We are in the time that we are living here in Minnesota and in the United States, and we need to have candidates who have common sense.
Thank you. And our next, to complete that second question for Mary Kunesh-Podein, what are your qualifications for serving as for the state senate, and why are you seeking this office?
Well, I think first my qualifications are having been the state representative for the past 4 years and building quite a bipartisan collaborative mode of getting work done. Over the last 2 years, I've actually been able to pass a number, in fact, at least 10 really good bills. One is the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women's Task Force. Another one was to increase the grants to our families that are struggling. It hadn't been done in over 30 years, and I was able to do that. I've had struggles in my own life. I was a single mom at one time, and Minnesota was there to support me when I needed that help. And I want to make sure that we have those kind of resources available to our families as they're struggling, especially at this time when we are trying to recover from COVID and, of course, the economic fallout that also ensues.
Thank you. So you'll take this third question with our rotation here. And the question is, what are your short-term and long-term goals for Senate District 41 and the state? First up, Mary Kunesh-Podein.
Well, I think in general, the first thing that I want to say is I want to make sure that we have healthy, that we have prospering families, that we have a community that is happy and engaged in their community. And part of that is ensuring that we are appreciating and welcoming to the diversity that is coming our way. Columbia Heights is changing quickly with the older folks moving into a different kind of living mode, and so our housing is starting to open up, but that doesn't mean that it is affordable for everybody. And so it's important that we are creating a community that supports all of our families, from those that are aging out to just starting their families, so that they're healthy and happy and have that prosperity that they deserve.
Okay, same question, Lucia Vogel.
One of my short goals will be creating more business, help those that are still open and struggle, and also try to incorporate the diversity that we have in Minnesota. Try to put together a different plan for the school, projects in the school that really work for the families of color and also the families in general. My goal is to unite the different cultures, because united we can stand any crisis, any situation in the state of Minnesota. So I am a very approachable person, very easy to talk to people, and it will be one of my biggest goals. Thank you.
Okay, Now we'll go to some of the questions that were submitted, and we'll start with Lucia Vogel. The first question is kind of an icebreaker. What did you and your family do for fun during the pandemic?
We've been watching a lot of Christian movies. As you know, I am a minister, so I've been enjoying a lot of, this summer, many movies. And also, we've been eating a lot of popcorn and doing barbecue in the backyard. And of course, we have a huge, beautiful garden this year. Tomatoes, potatoes, onions, flowers. So we have found a way to enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Okay. For what did your family do during this pandemic? Next up is Mary Kunesh-Podein.
Well, that's a really fun question. So thank you for asking that question. Well, first of all, I come from a family of 13 children that live all over the country. And so we Zoom a lot, we FaceTime a lot, we share each other's grandchildren and successes and struggles. Right now I have a brother that's out in California. He's a firefighter, and he's been sharing quite a bit with us, and we try to send the support that we can. I have 3 adult children that are all quarantined, and so one thing we did was to create really great gardens in their yards so that we have that fresh produce, and some of the recipe sharing has been very, very interesting, and so we have just been doing what we can to support each other the best way that we can.
Thank you. The next question relates to the pandemic as well. Do you agree with the emergency powers that Governor Tim Walz has declared because of the coronavirus? What would you do differently? First up is Mary Kunesh-Podein.
I do agree that we need to continue those kind of executive powers for our governor. And I'm not saying that just because I'm a Democrat. There are a lot of things that happen when the governor has those kind of executive powers. There are so many different funds, so many channels of funding that all of a sudden open up, and there's the availability for us to draw down from the federal government as well as to move some of those funds around within the state. One of the things that folks are upset about is that we aren't, as a legislature, making a lot of the decisions. But the decisions that the governor has made have been good. I don't feel that they're far-fetched, and I think they're very common sense decisions.
Thank you. And to respond to that question, Lucia Vogel, do you agree with emergency powers that Governor Tim Walz has declared because of the coronavirus? What would you do differently?
To some degree, it's okay that he have some power, but I believe that the 3 branches of the government in Minnesota should take decisions together, because when there is more opinions and more ideas, things work better and people stay more united. Minnesota need a government that will be united in situations like COVID-19. So one of the things that I will say for my part is that it should be equally decision, not only for the governor.
Okay, next question. This goes to Lucia Vogel. Do you think the statewide police reforms that were passed by the legislature this summer in special session are adequate, or are more statewide police reforms needed?
I believe there should be more reforms, but we should have never defound the police. I support the police. I believe that the police department should have more training. We should have more people involved helping the police. I will encourage the communities that the District 41 represent to be involved and bring ideas, how to solve problems, how to deal with situations, because they go through so many things that we as civilians had no idea. So as I get elected, I will suggest and I will encourage the people in District 41 to get involved and bring new and fresh ideas to the police department. Thank you.
Same question regarding statewide police reforms, which were passed by the legislature this summer. Were they adequate or are more needed? And this goes to Mary Kunesh-Podein.
That's a great question because I worked really hard on those reform bills. I am a member of the Posse Caucus at the state capitol, people of color, indigenous, and we took a look at so many of the policies and procedures that our peace officers have been implementing or not implementing adequately, especially like at the post board. And we had quite a few more suggestions. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get our counterparts to agree to those. In fact, the Senate Majority Leader, after 2 weeks of us working hard as we could, was even surprised there was a posse caucus, let alone that we had this slew of bills. So I think there is much more work to do, and I've been happy to work with other offices and communities reviewing and discussing how they can make those differences.
Okay, the next question is, what do you see as the greatest need or challenge for youth in Minnesota, and how would you help solve some of the youth issues? First up is Mary Kunesh-Podein.
Well, first of all, I think we need to make sure that we are providing an equitable education to all of our students across Minnesota, and equity does not mean equal. So we need to give those services to the areas and to the individuals who need it the most. That's most important, and we need to fully fund that. Second of all, I think we need to be able to provide really positive, healthy recreation to our students and our youth, so making sure that we have parks and bike paths and walking paths. Mental health issues are rising. I see it all the time as a middle school teacher. They are increasing across the state, and I would like to see more of those kind of services and resources at the school, in the home, and in the community.
Same question regarding challenges for youth in Minnesota. What would you do to help resolve the issues? Next up is Lucia Vogel.
One of the things that I would recommend or do is invest more in the youth in Minnesota and community centers, bring projects that the kids will be excited, create volley alleys where the kids can go and compete. Be involved with the children that we see that they are in risk of going into problems. When a child has problems, it's a problem for the whole community. And I believe that we need also be involved with the families of the youth. The schools should be involved with the families of these young people, and see what the problems and the things that they are going through.
Okay, and next question relates specifically to this Senate District 41. It's kind of a long question regarding rental assistance and low-income housing in the communities. So Fridley has 246 income-based apartments. Columbia Heights has 247. And then in that type of apartment, the tenants typically pay no more than 30% of their income towards rent and utilities. In addition to that, in Fridley, there are 16 apartments. In Columbia Heights, there are 22 apartments that are called rent-subsidized apartments. They do not provide direct rental assistance, but remain affordable to low-income households. So with this first question, is this enough sufficient low-income housing for District 41? And if not, what do you propose? First up is Lucia Vogel.
I will say the Columbia Heights is growing in a very rapidly way, but also Fridley have been change. And I would say the low-income houses is important to have in these cities, but I believe that Columbia Heights have enough places for low-income homes, families, and also Fridley is a bigger city. I believe that it should be more. It should be more low-income homes, rental places for families in Fridley, but Columbia Heights have enough.
Same question about low-income housing in Senate District 41, and this goes to Mary Kunesh-Podein.
Well, I think we can all agree that when you have a stable place that you can trust to be able to come home to at the end of the night and lay your head down to bring your children home to, that alleviates so much of the pressures that our families go through every day. The rising number of families who are homeless is astounding. And I guess my question back is there ever enough subsidized housing for our families? As a school teacher and as a community member and as a legislature, it is our job to ensure that we have safe communities, and safety means a place to live and a place to afford. If we can do that, then I would say yes, let's invest in those sort of things, because we know that lack of housing affects our jobs, it affects our schooling, it affects our health, our physical health, our mental health. All of those things affect a healthy community, and that's what we want at the end of the day.
Thank you. We'll go to a new question now. How do you plan on supporting family values and reducing fatherlessness in our communities? First up, Mary Kunesh-Podein.
Well, I think I'm not quite sure what that definition is, what the definition is of a family. Is it a mom and 3 kids? Is it a mom and 1 kid? Is it a dad and a stepchild? A family is a family. You don't even have to be related to be a family. And I think it's important that we are encouraging and supporting families in whatever they imagine themselves as. If there are ways that we can help with childcare so that those parents can go to work, I love that. I would say that if there are skills that need to be learned, then let's provide some kind of community parenting skills. If there are supports that we can provide within the school district, then let's do that. So let's look outside the box of what a mom, a dad, 1.2, 2 point what kids is, whatever the definition is. My family is very different from your family, and I want to make sure that all families thrive in our district and Minnesota.
So same question about do you support family values and reducing fatherlessness in our communities? Next up, Lucia Vogel.
I believe the values are so important in order for communities to be strong. When the family is weak, the community is weak. Values start at home, but also we as a community can help. I believe that if we teach our children the values of being blessed to have a family, or either a mother or a father or an uncle, or whoever take care of it is a blessing. And the other thing that I would say is the values need to be taught to the families, to the children, because when a family has values, we tend to have a good and a strong citizen that will serve the community and the state. Okay,
and we'll go to a new question here, and that is regarding special sessions this summer. As it's been shown in the media, the Minnesota Senate has the power to confirm or reject governor's pick for department head, a commissioner, or what's considered the cabinet for Governor Walz. And in the last two special sessions, two of those cabinet picks have been rejected. And so the question relates to, should that continue as a Minnesota Senate confirmation process, or what are your thoughts on the process that was held this summer? First up, Lucia Vogel.
I believe that the Senate should continue confirm, because we need to know who will be the person who will take that job. And it's important to ask for the right questions, and if they had not accepted, they were not the people that need to take that job. So I believe that when somebody is going to take an important job as this, they need to ask the right questions, and that's what they've been doing.
So same question regarding the governor's cabinet members and the Senate's responsibility of confirming those cabinet members, and this goes to Mary Kunesh-Podein.
Well, to be honest, I find it rather embarrassing and immature of the Senate to behave like this, because they don't get their way. They're taking their toys and going home rather than really staying and doing the work. The commissioners that were there were doing fabulous jobs. They were strong leaders and had a wealth of knowledge that nobody else will have at this time. And I find it very short-sighted that they would not confirm these folks, because what are we going to do when we have to rebuild our Minnesota? And we don't have those kind of strong leaders, those experienced leaders. And I would prefer that they would take a look at what the consequences, the long-term consequences of not having those kind of leaders in those positions as we rebuild after this pandemic, knowing that there is probably even another second round of it coming even stronger.
Okay, we have one more question before closing comments, and this relates to the upcoming legislative session. As you know, with the pandemic, the state budget will be in a deficit situation related to the cost combating the pandemic and reduced income from businesses and individual income taxes. What remedies do you propose the state do to help deal with the state budget deficit? And first up is Mary Kunesh-Podein.
Well, I think we have to be very vigilant, and we have to be pragmatic when we look at the budget. We all have our own incomes. We all have our own budgets to work with, and we know that for many, many people, their budgets and their finances are in dire straits. And Minnesota is going to probably be very much the same thing. So it's important that as we start the legislature, that we look at what the needs are of Minnesota right now. How are we going to get our economy back on track? Let's invest in broadband so that we can ensure that everybody has access to information and can do e-commerce. Let's make sure that we have retraining for those that are out of jobs so that we can make sure that they are able to, when this is over, begin again. Let's look at ways that we can really work together to make sure that we are creating and rebuilding a strong, strong Minnesota.
So regarding the state budget deficit projected for the next legislative session, what will you do to help remedy the situation? Next up is Lucia Vogel.
I would invite big companies from other states and from other parts of the world to come and invest in Minnesota. But the first thing is to make sure that they are in a safe place, the Minnesota become a safe place. Encourage them to create businesses. Encourage young people to start small businesses, single women start businesses or whatever knowledge they have. We have very creative Minnesota minds in here, and I believe that creating businesses will invite more taxes to Minnesota and will help Minnesota with the deficit that so far is $5 billion plus. And
Okay, so that concludes our questions for the candidates, which goes into the closing comments. And we'll start out with Lucia Vogel. Your prepared response to close up your evening tonight.
I just want to say to the communities, District 41, they are committed to be not only represent you for District 41, but also truly work for the community. I am a family, a woman of very close ties with my family, and I believe that strong families create strong communities. And when we have somebody that is for families and for values and for business and for education and for innovation, I just want to say tonight that I am here to serve District 41, and you can look at my Facebook and see what my values are and my ideas for District 41 will be. Thank you.
And closing comment, Mary Kunesh-Podein.
Well, I want to thank District 41B for these past 4 years and the honor of serving them. I was first elected in 2016 and very soundly re-elected in 2018. And I think that my constituents know that I have their best interest in mind. It takes a lot of work to work at the legislature and carry on a second job. But I learned that it's important to build those kind of relationships if we really want to get good legislation done. I was able to pass a number of incredibly good pieces of legislation in a split legislature with the Dems in the House and the Republicans in the Senate. How do you do that? You do that by building relationships and building trust and building the understanding that we are here to work on these things together for the good of all of our communities. And that's what I will do as your next senator in District 41. I ask for your vote on or before November 3rd.
Thank you, candidates, for speaking to the voters about issues and for running for Senate District 41. Thanks, viewers, for your interest in becoming informed voters. As we move through the election season, you'll find information and links to upcoming and recorded Meet the Candidates Forum for local offices organized by the League of Women Voters, ABC, and that website is lwvabcmn.org, which stands for League of Women Voters, Anoka, Blaine, Coon Rapids, Minnesota.org. Each voter has several convenient methods to vote. You may request an absentee ballot to mail by accessing either the Secretary of State's website or the website www.mnvotes.org. That's mnvotes.org. Additionally, you can vote early in person starting September 18th at the City Hall or at Anoka County Elections Office. If you need to register to vote or update your registration, you can do that online or when you go to vote. Make your voice heard in the general election by voting on or before November 3rd. Thank you, and stay healthy and safe. That concludes this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much.